Hey guys, this is Price the Producer with GlobalAudioTools.com. I have beats available at PriceTheProducer.com. Be sure to come on down, check out my content, show some support. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to go ahead and give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. I'll go ahead and give you guys a follow back. I want to go ahead and bring you guys a sound demonstration on the product that we are now is now available for pre-order at GlobalAudioTools.com, known as the Malice Kontakt Library. Today is 8/23/2017. It's going to be on pre-order the 23rd, 24th of this month. The official release date is 8/25/2017. So today is Wednesday, the 23rd. What I want to go ahead and do is, again, per usual, keep this video straight, direct, informative for the viewers at home so you guys get a great understanding of what's to be expected from this kit, or from this library, rather. Now, upon download, you will receive a file size of Malice Kontakt Library, which is 2.74 gigabytes. Upon unzipping, it's going to be 3.4 or 3.7 rather gigabytes, if I'm correct. And it does contain 135 high-quality instruments ranging from 40 one-shot samples to 95 musical instruments. It is going to be compatible with Windows and Mac, but you need to be running the version of Kontakt, the Native Instruments Kontakt 5 plugin, and you need to have the version of Kontakt 5.4.1 or above. I'll go ahead and say that one more time. You need to have the version of Kontakt 5.4.1 or above to utilize this library right here that you see on the screen. So that covers it for specs and system requirements. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the sounds and demonstrate the sounds for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and skim through some of these musical instruments, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the one-shots for you as well. So without further ado, let's jump into that. Also, before we actually continue with more sounds, as you can see right here, the user interface, I didn't even mention that. I'm sorry that I overlooked that fast. As you can see right here, there is a variety of different effects, as you can see, and there actually is 2 different pages to this library, as you can see right here. So let me go ahead and just list the effects that are on here so that way you guys are aware that, or you guys know what you're working with. If you can see right here, this is actually a 4-band EQ of high, high mid, low, low mid. You have a volume knob that controls the entire instrument volume. You have pan, which is right and left. You have a start time, a sample start time, which physically changes the start time of the sample. So let me just demonstrate that for you guys. As you can see, I'm hitting the same note if it's physically moving the start time of the actual sample. We also have a filter cutoff right here. We have a resonance. We have the amount for the cutoff. We have an EQ bypass right here. As you can see, let me go ahead and move to this screen. If you actually hover over the effects right here, I'm going to go ahead and point out that you can actually see in the bottom left corner, which is right here, you can actually see what the effects are. So let's go ahead and list it that way. I'm going to switch to this view to actually list off what the effects are, and I'll jump back into the sounds for you guys. So as you can see, we have the EQ high, high mid, low, low mid right here, low, the volume, you have the start time, the pan, you have the impulse response, you have the impulse response level, you have the high rate, or I'm sorry, the HR, IR, this is a high frequency for the impulse response, the low frequency for the impulse response. This is going to be the ratio. You have the pre-delay for the actual response unit. You have the envelope right here for your attack, decay, sustain, release, and the hold. You actually have your delay panel right here. You have a delay time, delay feedback. You have damp and pan. You have a distortion panel right here as well with the drive, and you have a damp right here with the distortion bypass. As you can see, everything is listed. So when you hover over the effect, it's actually listed in the bottom left, which I just pointed out. Now for the second page, if we go ahead and navigate to that, you click on the effects. We have a chorus panel, flanger panel, we have a phaser, and a surround panel. So basically for the chorus, you have the level, you have the phase, the depth, the speed, and then I actually included a glide knob. So for the basses or your leads or anything that you wanted to put a glide on, Parchamento, as you can see here at the bottom as well, it'll be there for you to utilize. It is on the chorus panel, or on the chorus panel, sorry. And as you can see right here, there is a flanger. You have the level, you have the phase, speed, feedback, depth, and color. Basically, all the parameters for the flanger effect. You have the phaser. You have the level, phase, speed, feedback, and depth as well. And in the surround, you have a LFE level. You have a divergence. And in the surround bypass, you have an LFE level. You have divergence. You have a distance. You have size, panner X, and panner Y. So basically, you have an array of different tools and parameters to work with just within this one plugin alone. Everything is there listed on board for you guys to utilize. It's all there out in the open. As you can see, even on the bypasses, there is helpful tips right here. As you can see right here is where the tip comes up when you hover over the actual knob or button. And within this actual impulse response panel, there's a bunch of different types of impulse response that you can choose from. As you can see right here, there's a variety of them, and basically that can be utilized to go ahead and change your sound, warping it to something completely different, changing one sound to a completely different other, which I will go ahead and demonstrate now. So that's pretty much like the general rundown of what the UI has to offer. It is very powerful. It is very advanced. As you can see, it is active. It's almost like it's thinking on its own. I also wanted to go ahead and just run down the UI for you guys. And again, I apologize for jumping into it without demonstrating that or elaborating on that more before. So without further ado, now let's jump into the sounds. So as you can see right there, it had some sort of adverse reaction with this impulse response right here. Now I can go ahead and just sit here and let me go ahead and just pick another one. Let's pick the Kome, for example. I know you guys can hear the subtleties just within those impulse responses that I demonstrated. Every sound will have a different reaction to every different impulse response option here. So therefore, you can make one sound into basically all the options that are available, tweaking it with the knobs and adding more effects as you see fit, making one sound into a completely different sound, which is basically what we're going to want out of a Kontakt library. So let's go ahead and proceed with the sounds accordingly. I just wanted to go ahead and demonstrate that as well, what the impulse response system actually was for you guys. Let's just go ahead and try and throw another random impulse response on there and see what kind of sound we get. Let's try Spring D right here. popping, so to speak. You just gotta utilize the actual what you're given, basically the actual impulse response. You have all the parameters to control everything. So therefore, for example, if you go ahead and find an impulse response that you like, tweak it accordingly until you get a sound like that. So I had one different impulse response and I tweaked it into this type of sound. Let's go ahead and try and do that again with the same sound. That also sounds great. So I just wanted to go ahead and point out, basically the impulse response system will react differently with every different sound. Don't be discouraged. Go ahead and mess around with it, and I guarantee you will find a great sound from that if you're tweaking it accordingly to the sound that you're using. Now, a little tip for those of you who do experience that little, like how I actually loaded that preset ambient flux, that you experience a little popping or on any sound that you may be utilizing the impulse response system on, I would highly recommend messing with the ratio knob, and that actually typically 99% of the time will fix that problem right up. It's probably just the ratio. So I would recommend just go ahead and utilizing that. So I just actually did that for you guys right now, and it actually made my sound a lot more of basically in the ballpark of what I was looking for. And it actually took out that popping sound as well. So it made the sound maybe having again that adverse reaction with the impulse response system, but it is not a big deal. It is not the sound itself. Everything is high quality. Everything is industry standard. It is the actual effect on there. So it is just a matter of actually utilizing the interface to get the sound that you were looking for. ratio down a little bit more, it gives me that sort of ticking feedback. Now if I move it slightly more up, it gives it just the right, ratio level for this particular sound. So again, it is just a matter of utilizing what you're given, utilizing the UI to actually obtain different sounds and different instruments with the library that you do purchase. As you can see, for those of you, if you're thinking, oh, that popping is some sort of, a bad reaction or that's not supposed to be there, as you can see, the UI is actually very, very powerful. It is sound design capable, meaning you can make some crazy sounds with here and go ahead and render them to a wave and make some sort of, unique sort of sound with it. It is that powerful, just so you guys know. It isn't a glitch or it isn't a hiccup, nothing like that. It's actually just the plugin doing what it's designed to do. It's working. Now, why that ticking came up on this sample right here particularly is because I wanted to point out this as well. As you can see, it's actually in reverse mode right here. So, for example, if I were to play out a note, The sample is actually reversed. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that there. I can actually turn the volume up all the way to display it one more time. See, so for example, this impulse response system here is a lot more powerful than you guys may think. I want to talk about that and go over it quite a bit so that way you guys understand what that actually is. I highly recommend you guys go mess around with it, fiddle around with it. You sound designers that you like to sound design, I highly do recommend as well that you pick that up and, you know, mess around with that impulse response system. It is very, very powerful. I can't exhaust that enough throughout this video. want to go ahead and do is test out a few more instruments for you guys to give you guys a good example, and then I want to go ahead and jump into the one shots for you guys. So I'll go ahead and leave it at that with all the instruments. I believe that was maybe about 20, 25, 30, somewhere in that range. There is 95 musical instruments of such. What I wanted to go ahead and do is also jump into the one shots and demonstrate those for you guys as well. Let's go ahead and back it up here. Now let me go ahead and just demonstrate some of these one shot samples for you guys as well, so that way you guys can get a great idea of what this Malice Kontakt library does have to offer. Even that sounded crazy cool. And also, I wanted to point out some of these drum sample one shots are actually kind of they're endless loops, so to speak. So if I hold this sample particular down, it'll never stop playing. I also wanted to point out as well, this start function the sample start can actually be utilized to make one sound into a completely different one-shot sound. So again, if you're utilizing, I can't exhaust that enough. If you're utilizing what you were given, you will come up with great new sounds, all from this Malice Kontakt library. So as you can see, here is the original sound, and here's what I turned it into. So again, it is just a factor of utilizing the library as well. There is one particular sample that I do want to show you. If I'm correct, it is the drum sample 5. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that. Let me see if that is the correct sample. Yes, this one's it. This is actually one of my favorite samples that I wanted to show you guys. Just some very cool, fun, useful stuff within this kit all around. Industry standard. I highly do recommend that you guys come on down and pre-order it today. If you're watching this on the 25th or after, I highly recommend you come down and purchase the kit. If you have any questions at all, feel free to go ahead and drop a comment below on what you think of this. There will be a demo download for you to try before you buy. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in this long. You all have a great day.